Hi, everybody. It's episode 458 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. I'm Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, it's another day. We made it to another Wednesday.
And that was the most out of sync syncing clap we've ever done.
Yeah, I blame Richie.
I went a little early.
You went like immediately. I was like, oh fuck, okay, we're going.
Yeah, you were.
I mean,
I usually like give it like a brief pause after I say 3 before I clap. And you guys are usually like right around the same timing. But yeah, that was aggressively bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be able to sync us for mine and Drew's Hey alone because we do it literally the exact same time every time.
Well, I mean, even if the claps aren't perfectly aligned, because we don't say anything until like a few seconds after, just lining those up generally susses anything weird out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it doesn't actually matter that we time those up. Like that's literally the reason we're doing that is because things aren't going to exactly lined up when we all start our recording. But normally we are relatively close, and that one you were like 3, 2, 1, and Richie was just like clap immediately. I was like, whoa.
He's eager to get done.
I've got a lot going on in my head, and I gotta do. I'm like, let's go. I gotta do something.
Oh, good. So you're gonna be fidgety all night, aren't you?
I mean, I'm always fidgety, but I'm still a little frustrated from yesterday and whatnot. So
your general demeanor for the last several months has just been frustrated. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh yeah, I totally get that.
Like I understand why, but I'm just letting you know. Your default is just frustrated at this point.
I mean, I don't have a 0 anymore. Like it's just go. Like I can't get a break. Like literally, last 2 weeks, I haven't really been able to do anything new or exciting to talk about because every day is filled with something that I have to I have to do or I have to get done, and or there's cleaning or there's this or there's that. I caved and am paying somebody to mow my lawn because I'm just like I can't right now.
That is a valid thing to do. Mowing your lawn sucks. And like you were saying the other week, like you tend to let it go a little while longer, so then it ends up being like a full day affair.
Yeah, it ends up being if I did it every 2 weeks on time, I'd be able to get it done within say like 2.5 hours. But like, I mean, I still can get it done within 2.5 hours, but it might actually go to like 3.5 to 4 hours because of how I let it go. And if I'm not paying somebody to do it, then like for instance, I'd have to do it this weekend, but luckily it's a 3-day weekend this weekend. I'd be able to do it on say Monday, but I have my niece's birthday party on Saturday. It's Memorial Day weekend, so I'm sure there's something happening, like a barbecue on Monday or something. Then streaming and everything else. I'm just like, I don't want to mow the lawn because then I'm going to be tired for everything else.
I mean, the solution is just stop doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do anything already.
I mean, you were just telling us that you do too much.
I really don't do anything though. Everything I do is because I don't do anything. I make YouTube videos because I'm not really doing anything else anyway, so I might as well make YouTube videos. I stream because, alright, well, I'd be playing video games anyway, so let me just play them on the internet.
I mean, that's fair, but, you know, do less work is what I'm saying. Like, just clock out at 5.
I wanted to, I tried to, I was, like, done and ready to clock out, but then there was just some bull. You guys want to talk about why you guys saw the thing on my Discord. The change.org petition.
Oh.
You guys want to talk about that?
No. Maybe.
No.
I don't know. I didn't know you turned off sound alert.
I turned them off yesterday.
Why?
So one of my viewers, my mod, I gave him access to add sound alerts back forever ago, and he, and it was so that, hey, could you add this while I was in the middle of streaming? He could add it. He took it upon himself to add a bunch of sound alerts that, not saying I need to sanction them, but I wasn't all too thrilled. One of them in particular was just a man yelling penis.
Yeah, I mean,
that one's obnoxious. Like, if it was all, goofy stuff of, things you were saying or whatever, that's a little different.
Yeah. But it's you know what? It's fine if it plays once once a stream, once in a while. But there was a stream or two where him and one other person played it constantly. So I was like, all right, I don't want them to do this anymore, but I know they want it there, so I'm going to charge you to use it. It's going to be like, I think it's like 100 bits or something like that to use it. Might not even have been that. And this was months ago that I changed it. Well, for some reason, yes, on Monday, he decided he wanted it to be free again.
And that's not his
so
call.
he was like, free the penis, free the penis. And I'm like, I know, I don't want it played on my stream. So if you want to play it, you have to pay. And that was kind of it on Monday. Then yesterday, he's back in the saddle of arguing to have the penis be free. And I'm like, no. And I even asked him, give me a good reason why it should be free. And he's like, because he wants it to be. And I'm like, I don't want it on my channel. I've told you this before. I've never laughed at it. I've never thought it was funny. And there's other sound alerts. Go ahead and use the other sound alerts or pay to use that one. And so, I guess in attempts to try to persuade me to make that sound alert free, he started spamming the other sound alerts, which, you know what? Fine, spam the other sound alerts. But at one point, he was spamming them during story content. Like, during, fucking cutscenes. And blowing my ears out during these cutscenes. And I had to be like, yo, come on. I'm trying to know what's going on in this fucking game. I'm 13 hours in, and they're finally giving me, major story content. And so, can you cut it down? And then I'm going through, and he's spamming a different sound alert. And I'm like, hey, could you do me a huge favor and try to cool it with that one, because they do mute me from time to time with that sound alert. So, once or twice is fine, but, try not to overuse that one. And he just responds, free the penis. So I'm like, fine. No more sound alert. We're done. We're done with them. If you want to play a sound, you can play the hello sound. But there's no more sound alerts now. And I deleted them all while on stream. And then ended stream, because I knew if I would have continued, I would have gotten even more angry at him. And probably blown up. Plus, I needed to edit today's video a long drive. So I was like, it was around the time I was going to end anyway. But for anybody who sees a Have Walnuts or a change.org petition that right now I believe has 4 signatures to have me reincorporate sound alerts on my stream, now you know why. I'm not a fan that he has this up because it kind of makes me sound bad. I'm not a fan that when I raided into another streamer, he was talking to that streamer about the fact that I deleted them. I'm not a fan that he put that up not only on my Discord, but another Discord. And it kind of is making me look bad, like I don't want to have fun.
Yeah, that's, it is not his,
No, exactly.
I'm gonna go so far as to say, I fucking hate sound alerts when I'm watching people's stream.
Yeah.
The subscriber, a new subscriber, fine. That's anything other than that, I hate it.
Even the new subscriber ones, I'm not a big fan of.
I'm not I don't, if they didn't have sound alerts for the subscribers, I wouldn't care. But I get that one. Honestly, that's probably the most that's there for, is to let the streamer know somebody new subscribed.
I guess some people just have obnoxious ones for that. And they go on too long, and it does make it harder to actually see what, is being done.
So, the sound alerts for, so there's those sound alerts, like the subscriber, raider, follower, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That they're to be set for a celebration. They don't have to happen that often, but when they do, it's to help you celebrate, it's to help you recognize what's going on. And it's to, bring out more of your own personality by celebrating the new people coming in, or the new people by giving them an alert of, hey, this is part me. So, when I get a subscriber, it's Proto Man's theme song. When I get a new follower, it's Godzilla roaring. And I just changed it to where when I get a raid, it's the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song from the show. So it's about a minute long, and it's just me rocking out to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But that's alright, this is to celebrate and to get excited. But yeah, the sound alerts on the little app where it's hey, you can actually play a sound that goes on my stream, they can be fun. I understand not liking them. They can be fun when used properly. For instance, when I watch somebody playing, I have a few people that I know that play Apex. One of them plays very much Leroy Jenkins. And when I see him playing Leroy Jenkins, I play that sound alert. He runs in ahead of everyone, not waiting for the team or anything. Another one, anytime I see them die, I'll occasionally play the Mario death, sound alert or something like that.
Sure.
But I'm not, that's more contributing to the stream than penis. in the middle of, hey, princess, your dad's died. Penis! And we got a penis the entire fucking time.
Yeah, no.
And so, that's, I wanted to air it out on stream, but I was like, no, this isn't the place. On the other Discord, I told him, like, hey, this is what's going on. Like, you literally were being fucking disrespectful to me. And his response was, I didn't know you were that emotionally invested in the story. And I'm like, it's not about my investment in the story, but it's about how, why, and when you were doing these sound alerts. Whether or not I'm invested in the story during a story moment, don't blow my fucking ears out with a super loud sound alert that you added to my sound alert.
That is valid.
Yeah, so and
also, I mean, I'm of the opinion, don't spam sound alerts in general.
Yeah.
So Dan Riker, he has, or at least used to, I haven't watched any of his streams in a while, he'd have so many sound alerts. And, his problem is that, 150 people would all try to play a different sound, in a row. And, that's one thing, but it's different if one person keeps spamming a thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's out of Dan's control that 150 people all want to give him money at the same time to play some stupid fucking sound effect.
That is valid.
When one guy is playing 150 sound effects in a row, ban. Just ban. Okay, guess what? You're on timeout. You're fucking out.
But that's the thing. Because of the way the sound alerts are, because it's an external thing, a timeout won't stop them from using the sound alert.
If you ban them from your whole entire fucking stream, it would.
Probably. Well, no, because, I mean, you can ban someone from your stream and they can still go watch your stream.
Well, ban them from the chat.
Well, that's what it is. When you ban someone from the chat. You can still go watch their stream. And the sound alerts themselves are not based on the chat. The sound alerts are an external thing. I don't really know how it works. I don't have anybody banned except for fucking spammers. But it's just I was so frustrated with that. And the fact
that does sound super annoying.
He went to other Discords and went to other people and was like, "Hey, we're trying to get him to reactivate him." And I'm like, "Guy, you're making me sound bad." He's an IRL friend. He's someone I know in real life. And, him with another friend, I've had to talk to him before and be like, yo, do me a huge favor and don't say shit like, oh, you're not paying attention to us or blah, blah, blah when we're live on stream because that's making me look bad. When you know I am. You know I'm paying attention. But I don't need a new viewer to come in while you're talking about how I'm flat out ignoring you and being shitty to you. And seeing if this person's going to ignore these people, then they're going to ignore me and then leave. And so I don't need anything being spread around he took away our fun of sound alerts. No, I didn't take away fun of sound alerts. You were spamming them poorly. In bad faith, you were spamming them for the wrong reasons. You were spamming them because you wanted one sound alert to be free, when you could have just played that sound alert. It's 100 bits. It's $1. If you really want penis to be said, you'd be willing to spend $1.
Wait, I thought bits were the free thing.
No,
what's the free
channel
thing?
points? Channel points are the free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so and that's why I put the bit on them is to dissuade from using it, but still allowing you to use it if you want to. I used to use the sound alerts back when I added them. I used them as intro music. I told people, hey, what song do you like? Anytime you come and stream, go ahead and play this. And that's what I used it for. And that's how people used it. And I liked that. Most of those people don't come to my stream anymore. And so some of them were just sitting there. And 90% of my sound alerts were alerts that he added.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that if it's not your stream and you are just a mod, you should not be adding or removing or changing any settings unless you're explicitly asked to do so.
Agreed.
But, Rich, what is on the agenda?
Oh, it's a long, long show, guys. There was a Sony State of Play Showcase, whatever it's called today, that some of us watched most of, or all of. Then we all watched Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and then Cobb, you watched a bunch of other things.
I did. I watched some shit. So yeah, how about that the Sony Showcase?
Let me tell you, at 1.5 speed, all of those games looked amazing.
I don't know, some of them I imagine even sped up looked pretty fucking mediocre.
No, I didn't get all the way through. I'm gonna have to watch Spider-Man 2, John. But for the most part, what I'd seen, which I had seen at least up to the Sword, John, Phantom Blade. I seen at least up to Phantom Blade, and there might have been one or two others that I seen after that. Like it looked neat. Some of these looked really cool. Phantom Blade, at least for me, looked really exciting. And then the art style for both Cat Quest or Kitty Quest, Cat Quest, and there was one other that I'm trying to remember that had this like wolf deer thing. Neva. Those two looked really cool. But like I didn't really get to watch all of it, so I'm gonna try to watch it tomorrow, just so like instead of having to watch all the trailers separately, I can just see them all.
Yeah, like there. It was a fairly quick, like it was an hour, but like it was pretty quick to get through that stream, especially when like a game was on that you didn't particularly care about. Like I skipped all the PSVR 2 stuff. Like I'm not getting one of those. I had no reason to watch it. And I started after the stream I started like a half an hour after it started, so I was able to sort of, by the time it finished, I was only like halfway through. But like, there was some interesting looking stuff in here. Like you said, that there was a very long Spider-Man trailer.
It was too long.
It did go on a little too long. It showed a little too much.
So was it a trailer in the sense of like it was just it was a cut together trailer, or was it like what they did with what Nintendo did with fucking that was that RPG?
Oh no, it wasn't like the Xenoblade ones. It was like 5 minutes of what is probably gameplay, but was definitely also just a vertical slice they made specifically for this. Where it showed us that Kraven the Hunter looks like he's going to be the big bad. Lizard is going to be in it. Spidey has the symbiote suit. And Miles and Peter you'll basically be able to swap between them. Probably not at will, but like the game will prompt you at different points to like change between Peter and Miles, and they show one of those things happening. It also looks like they're going kind of the comic book route with the symbiote suit, where it is impacting Peter. He's definitely a little more aggressive and violent in the bits that they show of him. The suit looks actually really cool though. I really like the it's not just like the smooth that you would normally think of when you think of the black suit. It's got some like texture to it because it is like an alien. And he doesn't have white webbing. It's like the black symbiote goo is his webbing. He can do all of the weird like venomy things where like he can use the symbiote suit to like shield himself and have like extra appendages grow out of it and stuff like that.
Interesting.
It looks promising. And, like, the section they showed looked like it was a cool section, but it probably could have ended significantly earlier and just left a little bit more up to let us see it when we play it.
Yeah.
Were there enough puddles?
There was an entire fucking river.
Okay.
Like, literally...
How much of that river is going to be missing from the game?
Probably most of it. They're probably going to cut that whole section. I feel like that's going to be like one of those things where that was the vertical slice and it's not going to fit the rest of the game, so they're just going to get rid of it. But yeah, the majority of the trailer takes place on the Hudson River. So, you know.
That's a major river to cut out, so...
Yeah.
Actually, wasn't it the East River?
I thought that it might have been.
I'm pretty sure the tour boat thing, the person was saying something about the East River and how it's not actually a river, technically.
Yeah, I think you're right. I remember that part. I forget what river they said. But, you know, like, I'm looking forward to this game. They unfortunately just gave it the fall 2023 at the end, which could be fine, but also this close to the fall and them not giving a date makes me think that like they're probably assuming it's going to be delayed at least a little bit. Because like if they're not giving the date, they're not confident.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through this IGN list, they did also announce that Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake. The trailer was super fucking weird. Rich, did you get to that point?
So it was Metal Gear.
Yeah.
No, I did not see the Metal Gear stuff.
So it was weirder, and Drew, I think you would agree, it was weirder even than normal Metal Gear trailers are. Like, it was like 30 seconds of just different sized animals in the jungle eating each other, and then eventually Snake pops out.
Yeah.
I think that's what the trailer was initially.
Was it?
Fucking, like, 25 years ago, remember?
I think it was something...
Right.
I was going to say,
This
it's like
was Snake
15
Eater,
years
right?
ago. Yeah.
I think it's 20, to be honest.
No, Snake
Pretty
Eater
sure.
was like 05, wasn't it?
Your original trailer.
Oh, no, mate.
No, you know what? It was earlier than
no.
05.
I feel like
It
this...
was 04.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be 20 years next year.
Oh, wait, no. Snake Eater. Make sure to write Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater original trailer, because apparently there's a movie from 1989 called Snake Eater.
You know what? If you Bing it, typing just Snake Eater, you only get Metal Gear Solid. But on top of the Snake Eater remake, they're also going to release Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation 5 sometime in the fall. So it looks like it's a collection. So it's called the Metal Gear... Oh, I didn't catch this before. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. So, Drew, you and I were talking before Richie joined about 4 not being in the list. That's probably why. They're gonna release Volume 2 with 4 and probably maybe 5? 4 and 5 in the Volume 2? Maybe Metal Gear Rising? Do they do any of the weird like PSP ones? Like Portable Ops?
I mean, Portable Ops, I'm pretty sure is canon.
What VR? I think isn't like VR missions also canon or something like that, or Acid. I
don't
forget.
think
Like there's a lot of weird
Acid
Metal Gear games.
Is like a remake of Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was Twin Snakes was a remake.
No, but so
of
is
Metal Gear
Acid.
Solid 1. Huh?
Twin Snakes was too.
Yeah,
But-
Twin Snakes is a straight remake in the Metal Gear Solid 2 and
Right wasn't it only on GameCube?
yes. And then Acid is like a card game, but I'm pretty sure it's Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, that's weird. That's very weird. But yeah, so we got Metal Gear Solid. PlayStation announced some sort of streaming device, like a handheld thing, just strictly for streaming games from their PS5. So it's just a cell phone with controllers on the side.
Pretty much.
I guess that's cool. And PlayStation earbuds. Everyone likes earbuds that are probably going to be really expensive. Then there was also Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I believe this is the one that's supposed to be more traditional Assassin's Creed, and it sure looked like it.
I kind of thought it was just a remake of the original Assassins until they said the character's name.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Like, I can understand why. Rich, did you get to that trailer at all?
No, I did not.
Right. So it looks very traditional Assassin's Creed. You kind of look like a cross between Ezio and Altair too. It looks like it's in like a Middle Eastern setting again. I'm a little confused by it though too. So there were a couple of times in the trailer where they kind of alluded to maybe you had more choices than just killing or trying to sneak past people. Like that one NPC says something about like, well, you could try to bribe the guards. But then as they're saying that, they immediately cut to just the assassin just murdering everybody. And I'm like, can you bribe the guards? Because that's actually kind of cool if like they're giving you more of that openness, like emergent gameplay sort of stuff, or like Dishonored. Or is this really just Assassin's Creed where it's really all combat and the stealth mechanics are just sort of a glossy film they put in front of it to make it you think that you're being sneaky?
I bet you it's that one glossy film where it's like it's part of the story to bribe the guards.
Like there's
But
one
you don't-
specific set of guards you bribe, and that's the only time it ever happened.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it'll be that one story mission and that'll be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... I am also
Possible.
kind of expecting that,
Mhm.
but, you know, this might be the first Assassin's Creed in like a decade that I'll actually give a shot to, depending like how it comes out.
Yeah, I don't want to play them anymore. I wanted to try to get into the most recent ones. I do have Valhalla, I believe, but like, yeah, it's not Assassin's Creed, and I don't want to give them the chance anymore. I'm kind of over it.
That's kind of where I'm at too, but I feel like if this game ends up being more in the vein of the Assassin's Creed that I would like to encourage that, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because I didn't care for... Origin was fine. It wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, but it was fine. The little bit I played of Odyssey when there was like you had like a free trial sort of thing with it when Stadia first came out. It was like if you got into the Stadia beta, that was the game you could play. And
Yeah.
it played really, really good on Stadia, but it was fucking bad. It was all just combat, and from what I saw, like it looked like the Viking one was basically just more of the same. And like I don't want giant 200-hour open world RPGs for Assassin's Creed. I want like tight, like 20-hour. Let's fucking sneak around and stab bitches in the throat.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2. Does anyone? I don't have any like fondness for Alan Wake.
I've never played it.
I own Alan Wake. I've never played. I own it on Steam. I got it on like a Humble Bundle. I hear it's really good. Never got around to playing it. Not really. Don't really care.
Okay, that's fair. We got a new trailer for Final Fantasy 16, which I actually skipped because the game comes out in like 2 weeks. So I just fucking fast forwarded right through that. I don't want to see any more of that game. I'm just going to play it when I get around to it.
I mean, it looked cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I saw little bits and pieces as I was fast forwarding. Yeah, it does look pretty cool.
I want to get it, but there's so much fucking coming out right now. And that's another game where, like, yeah, it'll probably go on sale pretty soon. Or by Christmas. And so I'll just get Legend of Zelda instead. I'll just do Legend of Zelda.
I mean,
plus, who knows what kind of busted up kind of state it may be in at launch.
Yeah, like that's sort of where I'm leaning to. Like, I do want Final Fantasy, but I might just give it at least like a week or two after it releases to just kind of see what the general consensus is.
Yeah, like I do all. Yeah, I want to see how. I don't care about like if people like it or not. I want to see how it plays. I want to see if it is like. I haven't watched the trailer, but I want to see if it is like more leaning on the Soul style or if it's leaning on the what was that fucking game that they just released last year or 2 years ago?
The Quiet Man?
No. What? The fuck is The Quiet Man?
Oh, God.
Mom's Dead Parkour, man.
All right, Cobb, we gotta make Richie fucking play The Quiet Man.
No, what was the game that they just had? It was fucking chaos.
Oh, Final Fantasy Origins.
Yeah,
or
like
it wasn't called Origins, but it was something along those lines.
Yeah, but like,
Final
is
Fantasy
it
Chaos.
more in that? Yeah, is it in that battle style? Is it a different battle style? Does it lean more towards Final Fantasy 15 battle style? Like, I want to know where that lies. Like, does it lean into like Final Fantasy 7 remake style? Like, I want to know where that goes before I decide if I'm going to get it right away. And so that's
totally valid.
Because like I didn't mind or whatever the fuck Origins was called I didn't mind that battle system.
It is Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy is the full name
there
of that
you go
game.
So we're just going to call it Final Fantasy Chaos.
Origins.
No,
Origins.
Chaos.
No S.
Final Fantasy Origins was a PlayStation 1 remake of Final Fantasy, or not even remake, port of Final Fantasy 1 and 2.
Yeah. So like I didn't mind that battle system, but I knew the gameplay loop sucked because it was you go through the dungeon forward, and then because it's all based on gear level ups and everything else, like you need to go back through the levels multiple times to get the better gear, and the only way to do that is to go back through the level backwards, and that was like the different quest lines, and so like the combat and gameplay itself was fun, but the gameplay loop was just atrocious. Like, you know, if that game ever gets under like $15, I'll probably get it.
Wait, how were you playing it? Oh, you just played like the demos. That's right.
Yeah, there's the demo.
For some reason, I thought you actually bought that game.
No. I only played the demo, and I like I said, I liked the combat system. I liked the class system. I liked the level up system. I just didn't. I heard like the gameplay loop just sucks. It sucks. Like everything else about the game is pretty solid, but the gameplay loop is it's so poor that it takes away from everything else.
Which. Yeah, like I the little bit I played of that game, of the demos for that game, I did not enjoy it. But if 16 is more in line with like 7 remake or even 15, like I'm okay with that. Like I liked 7 remake, but 15 was kind of meh.
I'm not okay with 15. If it's like 15, I will pass 100%.
I didn't hate 15's mechanics.
15's fight system fucking sucked because it was just hold a button.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I play. Look, I am not playing a Final Fantasy game for fucking in-depth combat. Frankly, I want turn-based combat.
But I at least want to have fun. I mean, turn-based combat in an RPG nowadays would be quite preferable. I am now on my second JRPG in a year. Both of them that have come out in the last 4, and they both had non-turn-based combat. So, like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a turn-based combat modern JRPG, but we're not going to get that anymore.
No, not from like the big companies at least. We also Dragon's Dogma 2 got a trailer.
Cool.
I don't think we'd seen that yet. Fucking Bungie announced they're making a new marathon.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's a PvP game.
Oh, really?
That's what the IGN article says.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's not like a single player campaign marathon game.
Oh.
Which fucking would have been wild for them to make a new fucking marathon.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking too. I only like. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, because I wasn't going to comment on this game.
Oh, I was just going to say, I only saw like bits and pieces of that trailer too, but when I saw it was Marathon, I'm like, oh, okay, well that's in theory cool. But what were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, back on Dragon's Dogma real quick, like, they've been kind of teasing this for a while, like, back and forth teasing it.
Well, they announced it like 6 months ago.
They didn't announce it.
Yeah, they did.
I don't think they. It was something else.
No.
They teased.
There was a separate non-Sony stream where they revealed that Dragon's Dogma 2 was in development.
Because then the main thing was like it was like a fucking Dragon's Dogma concert or some shit like that. I don't know.
That might have been
what it was.
actually that might have been where they announced it. But yeah, it got announced a while ago. They're just like this is the first trailer.
Yeah, this is the first trailer, and like I played the first one, but I played it years after the fact, and like. In my opinion, it didn't really age well. And that game is made to be played like on across multiple playthroughs and things like that. It is an old school RPG style that like does not. It's a Dragon Age Origins kind of style, but more action RPG. And like it didn't really click with me when I played it, but it had an interesting world, an interesting take that like I'm interested in Dragon's Dogma. It's another, like, every game on here is, like, I feel similar to, with the exception of maybe Spider-Man, every game on here is like alright, I can wait for a sale. Like, I want to play these games, I want to try these games, but, like, the state of gaming nowadays and how expensive shit is, I'll wait for it to be $40, $30.
That's fair. I just looked, this Dragon's Dogma 2 was actually announced June of last year. It was announced that it was in development during the 10 years of Dragon's Dogma digital event they did.
Yeah.
It took them a year to be ready to show a trailer. Damn. Talk about announcing a game too early.
That's Capcom.
Yeah.
I was told Towers of Agasaba.
Actually look kind of cool.
Saba. I was told that is a Walnuts ass game, or it looked like a Walnuts ass game. And so while we were talking about it, I checked out the little snippet of the trailer, and it gave me strong Dark Cloud vibe.
And Breath of the Wild. Like, it's got like a Breath of the Wild feel to it also.
I can see the Breath of the Wild a little bit, but like, it's just like, cause like there was base building, there's like settlement creation, but it's like, you're making the settlement and bringing people back into this region, and I'm like, this is definitely Walnuts ass vibes. That is a game that I'm going to look for and potentially look for.
I mean, it's also got like giant like monstery things, and you can jump off of high buildings and pull out a paraglider and shit.
Yeah.
It honestly does look pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Like it looks like, so it has like Breath of the Wild vibes, but in a much more like realistic open world.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, I would give that a shot. Was there anything else that really jumped out at this? New Grand Blue Fantasy game coming. Everyone loves a little Grand Blue Fantasy, right?
Fuck is that?
It's like a JRPG series.
Yeah.
It's like one of those ones where you don't hear a lot about it, but there's a bunch of games in the series, like the Tales games. Like unless that's Trials, Hero of Trials, whatever those games are called, Trial of Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like they're around. If you follow enough games, like you've seen the name, but you might not know what they are. Grand Blue is one of those. I also saw they had a new trailer for that Squire game, the Plucky Squire.
That looked awesome.
Dave showed that at something last year.
I do not remember that.
I think it may have been during Keeley's thing.
Oh, okay. That'd explain maybe not saying.
Yeah, this game, like, it looks so cool, though, because it's the one, Rich, I don't know if you remember this one. It's where the game starts out and you're like, you almost look like Link from the remake of Link's Awakening on the Switch, but on like a storybook, and then you like walk out of the storybook into the real world.
Yeah. I'm checking the trailer, the website now, and
and it's supposed to be this year. Like, I hope it is actually this year, because that just looks like one of those fun games that I am very interested to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, overall, it was a decent showing, but I wouldn't, like, you said it was like nothing, it was mediocre, or like everything, nothing really stood out. There were things that stood out, but I think it's just, for me at least, with modern gaming and how things are, it stands out enough for me to be like, alright, well, the sale only has to be down to instead of 30.
For the Plucky Squire?
Well, no. For like pretty much for a good. I'm talking about like overall the event itself. Like a good number of the games on there. I was like, all right, well this one I could see myself getting pretty early on, and that one, all right, I can wait. What was it? Fair Game seemed interesting, but it looks like it's going to be like a PvPvE type of situation. And that those can always be kind of a pain in the.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, got distracted by something. Anything else? Like, I can't think of anything else, even scrolling through this list, that really jumped out as, oh, I need to try that.
I enjoyed the trailer for Helldivers. I'm probably not going to get it, but I enjoyed the trailer.
Sure.
Because it was that was the Starship Troopers wannabe trailer.
Yeah.
And like I like that like satire type of bullshit that they do with that, and like the satire slash propaganda type shit. Like I was like, this is a good trailer. I enjoyed this trailer. Game, could be good.
Did you ever play the original?
No, never did.
I'm pretty sure it was a free game at some point. It's pretty cool.
I think you're right.
Like, I enjoy that first game. I didn't play a ton of it, but it's a cool game.
Oh, that's right. How about this goofy fucking foam game that is basically just PlayStation
Splatoon.
trying to make a slightly more sexualized Splatoon?
Well, it wasn't even PlayStation. It's a fucking Square Enix game.
Oh, is it Square Enix? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's just Splatoon. But it seems like the foam will actually, like, change the terrain.
Yeah, it looks like they can, like, run on it.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a bunch of anime characters. Like, instead of, like, fun little squid kids.
As far as I know, Helldivers was not free on it, unless I just didn't get it.
I mean, there's a good chance it was one of those.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like it was free long enough ago that it probably fell in that weird period where you had PlayStation Plus, but you consistently forgot to check the free games every month. Yeah, I have Helldivers. It was a PS Plus game. I'm not sure when.
I think it might have launched.
You might be right. I added it to my inventory thing in March of 2019, but that does not mean that is when it was on PlayStation Plus. That might just be when I went through and added a bunch of PlayStation Plus games. But still, like that, I remember that being like a cool game, and it's probably worth whatever couple of dollars it costs now.
Yeah, it's a fun, goofy co-op game.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, let's see. Anything else on this list? Probably not. Street Fighter. Who's excited for Street Fighter, guys?
I mean, I'd try it.
I guess it depends if it launches with any sort of single player this time.
It seems like it is.
Yeah, I don't trust that because 5 seemed like it was too, and it really didn't. Like you could do single player like AI matches, but there was no like progression or anything to it when it launched.
Yeah.
And I am not good enough to try those games online. Like I get fucking stomped. It's not even fun.
Helldivers 1 was a PS Plus game in February 2016.
Damn. Yeah, Rich, I think that was around the time that you were like...
I honestly don't even know if I had PS Plus in February 20.
I think you did.
No, I'm sure I did.
Like you've had PlayStation Plus as long as you've had a PS4, I think.
That was definitely like a I completely forgot to. That one's so old. Yeah, I forgot to do for sure.
First one's on sale right now for $16.
That is more than I would expect it to be.
Yeah,
for being as old as it is.
It's its new price or normal price is still $40.
Good for them. If they get sales at that price, fucking more power to them. Well, do you guys want to move on to book club?
Yeah,
sure.
We can move on.
So, what did you two think of the final J.J. Abrams related film, Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, the 4th Mission Impossible?
I might have liked it more if I had seen the first.
Unlikely. The first.
No, it didn't really have a connection to the first 3.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. This one kind of reboots it in a weird way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, Tom Cruise is the only real connecting factor to it. Because Simon Pegg wasn't in the previous ones, Jeremy Renner wasn't in the previous ones, and the female agent that works with him was in the previous ones. I think the only 2 people that appeared before would be the older guy that was in the car with him after they basically got burned, that got shot, and Ving Rhames at the end was part of the original team from the first one.
Yeah.
And Michelle Monaghan, who is his wife, like her little like brief cameo at the end. She was in at least 1 or 2 of the previous ones, but I always forget. Like I know people like Mission Impossible 1. It's either 2 or 3 that like people did not enjoy, and then it was a pretty big gap between 3 and this one. I would say it was like 5 years or so. And
I
then
think the only one I've ever seen prior to this one was the only one I remember seeing, like the end sequence is they're like on a bullet train or something. There's a helicopter in the fucking tunnel with the train, and that's all like I really remember. And I think that was MI3, but I can't remember for sure.
did Tom Cruise have long hair?
I don't remember.
That's how I can tell him apart. 3, he had like the really long hair. 1 is the one where it has that that very famous scene of him like dangling from the ceiling, like just above the floor. That's like pressure sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly have no idea about anything prominent from 2. I know I've seen 1, 2, and 3, but I have not seen any of them probably since around the time they each came out. But Drew, I take it you weren't a big fan of this?
I mean, it was fine, but not something I would have. It didn't make me feel like going to watch any of the other ones.
Well, so never mind. That train scene was from Mission Impossible 1. I'm pretty sure I've seen Mission Impossible.
Okay.
But I can't remember. Like, these movies, I always thought they were decent. I don't think I hated them. But like, I never really had the choice of what movie to see when we were kids. Mission Impossible 3 was a 2006 movie. And so I think like it was 96 and then 3 was 2006, 10 years later. And it was just like,
wait, say those dates again.
Mission Impossible 1 was 96, and Mission Impossible 3 was 2006.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. For some reason, I thought you said 2003 the first time. I'm like, that's not 10 years.
No, I said 3 was 2006.
Okay, I must have heard the 3 and just overlapped the other one.
I do remember my dad enjoying these, and I usually like the same movies he'd like. So, like, I don't have a lot of memory of these movies. I have wanted to, like, maybe try to watch through them. But, like, the Ghost Protocol doesn't really connect to the others. And they kind of explain that at the end of Ghost Protocol. Like, yeah, no one knew about what was going on with me besides me and the director. And so, like, you didn't have to know any of the relationships before Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was kind of on purpose because they were almost rebooting the franchise at that point. Because since then, I think they've all been pretty well connected.
Well, the next one is called is Rogue Nation.
Yeah, it's Rogue Nation, then Fallout, and then Dead Reckoning Parts 1 and 2 that are coming. Which
I think, like, they had, like, mentioned Rogue... Like the end sequence was kind of referencing the next...
Yeah, like, it was basically him being like, next time I have a job, I want you guys on the team.
Well, no, like, I think he got a thing. They have a job at the end of this one.
Oh, yeah, maybe that is what it was. But either way, like, he wants those people on the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mission Impossible movies are very much just the American James Bond. You know, they're a little more over the top and goofy than the James Bond traditionally were. I feel like a lot of the James Bond movies since whatever the one after Quantum of Solace was has kind of like veered in that direction. It's weird. Like even the Pierce Brosnan era kind of was going in that goofy over the top direction for a little while too, and then they sort of course corrected with the first 2 Daniel Craig ones, and then have veered off into the absurd again. But yeah, like the Mission Impossible movies are just they're very American, you know. Fucking Tom Cruise scaling a fucking building with like electromagnetic gloves or whatever the fuck those things were.
It's Fast and the Furious but spy.
Well, wouldn't Fast and the Furious really just be Mission Impossible but cars?
Yeah,
maybe. But they don't start that way. That's yes, Fast and the Furious came out after Mission Impossible, but Fast and the Furious wasn't like spy type shit until Fast 7.
Yeah, which is well past when all of these movies were coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just more argument that Fast and the Furious is Mission Impossible but cars.
You're not wrong. I was just swapping the idea based on the older franchise.
There could be a study that could be done. Like, when does Mission Impossible get too over the top and ridiculous, and when they take a car into space? Like until Tom Cruise flies a jet-powered car that his friends built in a junkyard into space, they're not. It'll never be too ridiculous. Did they do space yet with Fast and Furious?
Yeah, Fast 9. Fucking
okay.
Tej and Roman, literally, that they work with fucking Bow Wow and the 47-year-old from Tokyo Drift, and they build a junk car and attach a jet engine to it and fucking rocket themselves into orbit with like homemade spacesuits. so that they can turn off a satellite or something like that. And then they're stranded in space because, it's a fucking car. It has no way to get back into the atmosphere. So they drive the car in space into like the International Space Station to like get help.
I gotta see that movie.
It's so dumb. It's great, but it's so fucking dumb. And 10 looks like it's going to be even dumber.
Yeah.
I love those movies. They're the best. I did enjoy Ghost Protocol. I feel like, so I've seen Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation before. It's been, whenever Rogue Nation came out was basically around the time that I saw it. So at least 5 or 6 years, probably more than that. I feel like I remember liking Rogue Nation more than Ghost Protocol. Like, I remember there being more happening in it than in this one. This one felt just it was like a little disjointed because the first like half of the movie is them just doing spy work, and then they get burned, and the second half is them trying to unburn themselves.
Yeah, I was a little not like I enjoyed the movie. I'm not big on spy films. You guys know that. I'm not big on James Bond.
You're not big on fun movies. Let's just
no, like there's just something about spy movies and noir stuff that it's just like I do get a little bored because there's like nothing happens a lot of the time.
Tom Cruise climbed a building.
Hold on. This movie was a lot different because it started from beginning to end. It was constantly going. But to me, that hurt the movie more than a slower paced spy movie because there was no relax. There was no chill. And then you get into the final, I'm going to call it the final boss fight, where there's only seconds to turn off the nuke, and fucking Tom Cruise can't keep up with an old man 20 years fucking older than him in a fist fight. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand why Tom Cruise can't keep up with this dude.
Yeah, that whole last scene, it's like, I get that, very early on they had the dude kick his knee and like you hear it crack and then he's like hobbling the whole time. But I feel like at that point, Tom Cruise should have never even been in that position. Like, he's a super spy. This guy just seems like a weird rich Russian or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gave me like, I don't know. I thought like everything was fine in the movie, the writing and everything, but like just the vibes that the movie was giving me was just like this is a little weak. It's like not the best performance.
Yeah, and
out of like anybody here.
I do think that they get better. I haven't seen Fallout. I do want to try and watch. I signed up for just a trial of Paramount Plus through Amazon to watch this, and I watched a couple other things on there as well. But I do want to try and like, if I can, squeeze in some of the other Mission Impossibles just to kind of catch up to them. Mm-hmm. So like the other two, because I think it's just Rogue Nation and Fallout that's left. But I want to see the Henry Cavill like arm pump thing that everyone was real angry about.
I might if I can find time, I might try to sit down and go through the whole. Like, I do want to know like would my interest in Ghost Protocol change if I had remembered and had or knowledge of the first. Like it does confuse me as to why when when Ethan sees Simon Pegg for the first time, he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I passed my field training." Like, was Simon Pegg's character in a previous game, in a previous movie? Like, how does they don't they make it seem like there was a pre-established relationship between them two, but as much as I remember, and like you even said, this is Simon Pegg's first Mission Impossible movie, so like I feel like that was awkward that they made it seem like they knew each other.
Yeah, so it was almost like one of those. Well, Ethan is a very prominent spy in that organization, so it makes sense that he would know like the analyst side of it, essentially. And they were basically trying to just set up that Simon Pegg's character has been running missions for Ethan for a while.
Yeah.
Which, like, I like that, but I agree where it almost makes it seem like almost like you forgot something in the previous movies.
No, Simon Pegg was in Mission Impossible 3.
I didn't think he was. I looked at that the other day and I didn't see him listed on it.
Benji was listed in Mission Impossible 3.
I must have when I was scrolling through the other movies casts, I must have just missed him on the list.
So his wife, Michelle Monaghan, was only in Mission Impossible.
Okay, I couldn't remember if she was in 2 or 3. I knew she was in one of them.
And yes, Simon Pegg was in 3. So like maybe that would like, because that relationship felt weird. I also feel like maybe the agent who they were trying to basically get revenge for. I can't remember his name. Like, I feel like he might have been in a previous one as well.
Oh, Sawyer from Lost?
Yeah, but like I don't see him in any previous movie.
Again, like, I don't think he was. I think that was just more of they took out one of their own sort of deals.
But like it seemed like he knew him, and like that, like that, and I get that like leans back to like Drew being like, well, if I had seen the previous ones, I might have like this one more. I might have had more. It's like it made it you feel like you should have known this character when like I don't think you should have known this character.
Yeah.
And like that again makes it uncomfortable when it's like, oh, should I have known who Trevor Hannaway was? No, you shouldn't have. But like they wanted you to act like because they made it seem like Ethan was very negatively affected by the death of Trevor Hannaway, of Josh Holloway's character.
Hey, I'll be right back. The dogs are barking like crazy.
Yeah. So it was a little weird. A little weird, some of the relationships.
And like, I get what Cobb said, that Ethan was higher up, so he probably would have known a bunch of them. But at the same time, like, they're spies, they're probably explicitly not supposed to know everyone. And it's just like,
they shouldn't, a spy shouldn't know every spy in the spy's network.
Yeah. And like you said, the way they talked about some of the other characters made me feel like I was missing something from the other movies.
Yeah.
That apparently, for the most part, I wasn't.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's only technically only 3 or 4 characters in this movie that were in previous. And it was Ving Rhames, Michelle Monaghan, Simon Pegg, Tom Cruise, and the senator. Or whatever, the secretary, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I always forget, like, who he actually was. I just knew he was in some of the other one.
I'm trying to find the actor.
Of the, like, senator guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? He looks very familiar, and I just cannot place him. Any luck?
But, yeah, I don't know. I can't find him. There's a big cast. And I don't see secretary or whatever written anywhere in these names.
Yeah, because, you know, it probably has whatever his actual character's name was. So you'd have to probably click on, like, every character until, like, you saw that guy. Which, it's not that important.
No.
Yeah, I thought, if nothing else, like, some of the big set piece things in this movie was fun. Like, again, like, scaling the building, Jeremy Renner in that, computer thing at the end where he was basically doing indoor skydiving. Where, like, the fan was blowing him up and he not quite high enough, so he, like, curled into a ball to, like, decrease his wind resistance and then, like, flung his arms out to, like, push himself back up. I thought that was goofy and fun.
Yeah. Like, it had some neat scenes, some neat, set pieces and things like that. Like I said, overall, it was decent. It's just, more for me, it was the performances from everyone just felt weak. And, like, I kind of lost a little touch with it. It's just like, alright, it's 2 hours long, and it feels like 3 movies in 2.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I definitely understand that. It did feel, I checked a couple times to see, like, how much of it was left, and it did feel like there was just more left than I expected there to be.
Mm-hmm.
But, overall, like, I would certainly continue watching these. And like I said, I'm going to try, because I do want to see Fallout, but I want to watch Rogue Nation again first, because it's been so long.
Yeah.
Rich.
Yes.
Do you have a Nick Cage movie for us?
So I completely forgot I had to look for a Nick Cage movie. However, when we were looking at Nick Cage movies last week, one of my favorite movies of all time, and absolutely my favorite Nick Cage movie, is available on Paramount Plus, and that is Gone in 60 Seconds. So we are going to be watching Gone in 60 Seconds for 2 weeks from now. Look, it's hard to find a Nick Cage movie on a streaming service we all have.
Yeah.
We don't have to pay for. That was the hard part. Like, if I had the choice, it would probably be the Rock. But the Rock, it's a rental only. As far as I can tell, it's not available. So I'm gonna go with Gone in 60 Seconds because it is probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and definitely my favorite Nick.
And I think Drew and I have not seen it.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
And I definitely haven't either.
See if I could just try and watch it on Monday, because I sure as shit have no time to watch it between now and 2 weeks from now.
What are you doing not this weekend, but next weekend?
I won't have Paramount Plus anymore.
Oh, did you just get a trial of it too? Oh, for some reason I thought that you had said before that you had it through something.
I thought we did, but we don't.
Oh.
Don't you? Don't you have Comcast cable?
Yeah, you got rid of that.
Peacock.
Oh, okay.
Also, you're thinking of Peacock, not Paramount.
Do you
I feel like
do you still get Peacock through just like the Comcast that you do have?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess like whatever your plan is comes with it, and mine doesn't.
You don't have the gigabit internet?
Oh no, I didn't realize you had gigabit.
Yeah.
That's probably why then.
Yeah.
You pay more, so they're like, here, free Peacock.
Yeah, probably.
At least at the very least, just fucking do the decimal point thing with your Gmail account and just burn another free trial.
Yeah, I could. If I have time to watch it on Monday, I will, and try to remember anything from it. But
that's fair. The little bit I know about it is it's like a goofy over the top movie. Like it came out in the same era as the first Fast and the Furious movie, so but it's got Nick Cage, so over the top nonsense.
Got Nick Cage and Angelina Jolie with dreadlocks.
Yeah, that's not a selling point. I do not like Angelina Jolie.
I know.
She's kind of like Will Ferrell.
She doesn't talk a lot.
I mean, that's a plus. That is a plus. So cool. So yeah, 2 weeks we'll do Gone in 60 Seconds. So that should be fun, and and then Drew will have the next pick.
Mm-hmm.
And it better be Face
Drew,
Off.
You've got two. I don't think Face Off's available on streaming.
I think it was.
Or unless we have to pay.
I think it was Face Off.
It is available on Peacock.
Oh, was it Peacock?
Amazon
Paramount
Prime
Plus.
and Paramount. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So it's available on everything.
Man, everyone can watch Face Off. That's great.
Yeah.
Best Nick Cage movie.
I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, good to know. Good to know. Well, I guess with that out of the way, I did get a chance to watch some stuff again because I have Paramount Plus, so figured I'd try and squeeze some things in. I watched the newest Scream movie, which was Scream 6. It's not bad. It's a direct sequel to Scream 5. So whereas like 1 through 3 were all direct sequels, and then 4 was almost more of like not a reboot per se, but like it changed up most of the cast. What's her face? Neve Campbell was like the only like she was there, but it was not really about her in the beginning. And then 5 did that again with like a whole new cast, and Neve Campbell and some of the original people were just kind of there also. This one focuses on the same people from 5 that survived, but rather than being in that like weird small town that all of this always happens in, they're all in New York City now, getting chased by like a psycho killer. And it's honestly like it has its problems like any of these horror movies would, but I feel like it did a good job with some of the meta narrative that those movies usually have in it by then putting it in like a major city. And just one of the first things that happens is like, have you guys ever seen Scream movies?
I saw the first one back when it first came to video. Like, that's
okay.
How...
So generally these movies like cold open with somebody being killed. It's usually somebody that you're not going to follow the rest of the movie, obviously, because they're dead, and they're usually only like tangentially related to everybody else.
I want a movie where you follow the dead person from the.
It's called The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
No, like literally, like I want from the set time they die. The camera
you just
is
follow their
on
corpse
on their corpse as like the cops come and do their thing, and then the investigators do their thing, and then people, and then the funeral, and there you go. That's the movie.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did that event. But so this one has that cold open murder, and then the murderers get murdered. So like they actually show you immediately who the killer is, and then set it up where like, oh, are we just gonna know who the killer is the whole time and just be angry that the fucking main characters are too fucking stupid to realize it? And then immediately they swerve again. But we're then presented with the news circulating that another one of the Ghostface killings is happening. And the older sister from the first one is kind of she's being portrayed as actually the person that committed the murders in the previous one, even though they know that's not what happened. But, social media. So you see on the news at one point that sale of the Ghostface masks have skyrocketed. And it's also Halloween. So every time they're out on the street, there's just people in costume. And there's a lot of people wearing the Ghostface thing. And you're constantly like, kind of like looking around at these people like, who's going to stab one of these characters or like try to stab them like all of a sudden?
Look, I've never lived in a world where like a mass killer like this was like a mass killer was well known that wore a specific kind of mask, but that is in such bad fucking taste.
So to be fair, in this universe, these killings were also turned into horror slasher movies called Stab.
Right, that's what they did with fucking the 5th movie. God damn it.
The second movie.
Whatever. It's dumb.
Yeah, so
It's dumb.
Ever since the first movie, there has been this series called Stab. And it happens throughout all of them. Like the movies are brought up in every single one of them. So that's why the Ghostface mask is so popular, because those movies are really popular, and I believe there are actually more of those movies in universe than there are actual Scream movies at this point, which is kind of funny. Because like Scream is very much supposed to be that like narrative on the slasher genre, while inside of it, it has a very traditional slasher movie. But yeah, so that is why that whole thing exists. I feel like the killings, other than in the third movie, where they're actually in Hollywood, the first 2 movies, the 4th movie, and the 5th movie, they basically all happen in like the same town. It's like a town in like Michigan.
Yeah.
So like, yes, like the idea of like people just running around in those masks is in poor taste. It's so regionalized, like the killings to that one area, that people that know about it, but I feel like more people are just familiar with the movie franchise, and that maybe it's vaguely based on a true story.
That's weird. It's so weird.
I mean, I do not disagree. Scream 6 was fun though. It did its normal thing of making you wonder who done it. The only original character to return in this one was Courtney Cox's reporter woman. And she got maybe the best fight scene out of any of these movies, where like she damn near actually killed one of the Ghostface killers, which never fucking happens until like the end of the movie, when like they just fuck up and like the final girl gets to stab them or shoot them or something. But in this one, like Courtney Cox fucking kicks their ass for a while. It's just unfortunate that after she does like a karate flip up like over her shoulder thing onto a glass table, she reaches down to pick up their knife, and they grab a shard of glass and stab her with it. Because, you know, you can't kill the bad guy halfway through the movie. It was fun though. I liked it. I kind of hope they make at least one more of this series, just to like wrap up these characters, because I feel like it was still left in a way where after 3, it had like a okay, it can be over now. And after 4, it had it can be over now, and then it took them a decade to make it. But like 5 and 6 both ended in a way where it's like, while like the killer is done, I feel like there's more stuff to come out of like this cast of characters, the ones that survive at least. So we'll see. After Scream though, we watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which Rich, I know you said you wanted to watch, but you didn't get to, right?
No, right. No, I haven't. Just FYI, I don't know if it's just me, but you keep cutting in and out and having to speed up. So if we're delayed at responding to you, it's because your internet is wonky.
Or is your internet wonky?
It's also happening to me.
Oh, it might be my computer then, might not be the internet.
Yeah, because like you'll cut out, and then you'll come back like a few seconds later with immediately after you cut out, but sped up so that you catch up to you.
Oh, that's weird. That's very weird.
So like you're buffering for us.
Yeah, it might just be my computer then, because I meant to turn it off yesterday. Or not yesterday, today's Wednesday. Turn it off on Friday. And forgot to, so it's been on since Friday, and I haven't used it at all. Which, shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, so Dungeons and Dragons movie. That was a weird one, because I didn't have high expectations for it initially when they showed it. But then it kind of had like a good word of mouth. So I kind of went in expecting something, just not entirely sure what. And I think it delivered like a solid movie. It was not the best movie I've ever seen, but it was not nearly as bad as a movie like this could have been. It had some really fun humor. Some of the action sequences were good. There were a lot of fun nods to D&D related stuff. Like, at one point they basically get a magic item, and the magic user on the team has to attune it, but they're just like, I'm really bad at this. So they just have trouble attuning a magic item to be able to use. And the druid doing like all the wild shape stuff was neat. I'm trying to think like some of the other there's a very overweight dragon in it, which was fun. Yeah, like the dragon was more round than it was tall. Certain characters definitely leaned more into like the tropes of their race or role. So like I I don't think I ever caught it in the thing, but the druid character is supposed to be a tiefling. So, like, they don't trust humans because that's, like, the whole thing for them. I do think that the movie didn't quite know what it wanted to do, though. So early on, it was kind of, I don't know, it seemed to jump around a bunch in, like, the first, say, like, half, maybe a little less than half. And it wasn't until around, like, the midway point where it seemed to really, like, sink its teeth in and, like, know what sort of movie it wanted to be. And, like, kind of go straight from there. But even then, like, the end felt more like a Marvel movie ending than the ending that this movie was building up to. There's even kind of like a Hulk scene in it, like where a character does a thing to another character that just feels like something out of, like, the Hulk. Overall, though, like, it was enjoyable, and, like, I'm glad I spent the 2 hours watching it. My favorite thing I saw about this, Blessing Jr. from Kinda Funny, his rating for it, he put, if my rating scale was a D20, we rolled about a 12. And that seems, that's pretty close. I might give it a little higher than that, but, like, a 12 seems good. It was enjoyable, but definitely didn't quite know what it wanted to do. And I think if they did a sequel, they'd probably be able to streamline it a little bit better and just make a more cohesive movie out of it. The only other complaint I really had is the effects. So some of the effects looked really good. The druid changing shape into, like, the different animals and stuff, that looked cool. Like, you could tell they weren't real, but, like, it still looked cool. But then they had, what are the bird people called?
Were they, like, full-size, like, human-sized birds?
Yes.
It's Aarakocra.
So they had them and tabaxis. And the Aarakocra looked like a bad puppet, and the tabaxis looked like even worse puppets. Almost like the clay, almost like stop motion puppets for the tabaxi.
Oh, weird.
Like, there was just something about them that just looked very off. But then, like, you had other things that were just, like, very cool. Like, there was the I guess let's call her the villain was, like, a red wizard or something like that. I forget exactly what they called her. But her powers involved, like, this red gassy stuff kind of covering the ground. And, like, that was a super cool effect when they showed it in certain scenes where, like, the ground was kind of, like, white or whatnot, and then this just rolling red smoke would just kind of, like, start cascading about it. So, like, they definitely seem to... They put their budget into some weird places.
Fair.
But, like, you know, the characters were fun. Chris Pine as a bard who seems to have zero skill in anything was... Like, that was fun. He was basically... Like, as the bard, like, it makes sense, but he was basically just the hype man. He was just convincing everybody that, like, they should just keep going and keep trying to do the thing that only really impacts him. Meanwhile, like, the whole rest of the team were the ones that actually had the skills. Because you had... So it was the druid, a sorcerer, and a barbarian were the three classes of the other character. And, like, they all did shit. Chris Pine at one point hit one character with his loot. That was, like, the extent of his action. But he did a lot of talking. He convinced a lot of people to do things that they probably didn't want to do.
That's a bard.
Yeah. It's just funny, like, they leaned into so much of the, like, D&D, like, class stuff. Even like with the magic, it was almost like he was rolling for some of his magic and was just having really shitty rolls. Because more often than not, the sorcerer's magic just didn't quite work out the way he wanted it to. But they never had, like, Chris Pine as the bard, he had no, like, support anything, which would have been weird and hard to do. Like, I do get that. Like, him pulling out his lute and, like, singing a little song that suddenly, like, gave everybody a little buff wouldn't have made much sense. But I feel like they could have at least tried to do something. But yeah,
I'm gonna try to give it a watch this weekend, and I'll, like, with that in mind, I'll try to have my takes on what on that, like, responses on that, because, like, it is hard to represent support types and whatnot
100%
in a game or in a movie. And from what I heard, like, a lot of, like, the game and story was, like, the writers actually playing D&D,
which is awesome. And they did a good job with a lot of it. And if they base this story off of, like, a campaign that they played to try and get a feel for it, like, that explains why it's a little disjointed early on, as, like, they're definitely trying to figure out what they want to do. But yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. And I will say, I'm glad that they didn't make Chris Pine, like, a paladin or a rogue or, you know, like, something that would have made him more useful in, like, a combat situation. Like, him being a bard and being basically useless, but needing all these people to help him go do the thing that he wants to do, and really only impacts him. It made for that, like, because the tagline for the movie, or the subtitle, is Honor Among Thieves. So, like, it helped them being, like, a thieving crew, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there are some fun cameos. I did not catch this while watching it, but during a scene in the later part of the movie, there are people that are supposed to be the cartoon characters from the 1980s D&D cartoon. Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, I thought that was neat. I think, like, you saw it in all the trailers. There's a mimic, there's a gelatinous cube, there's lots of magic items that, like, they use for different things. Like, they have, like, a little portal wand and a thing that lets them ask dead bodies, like, a certain number of questions. So, like, that they're leaning into, like, the goofier side of the lore in a lot of cases too, and lots of name drops. Like, even me, who doesn't know a ton of that stuff, like, they name drop, like, Neverwinter. I think they said Baldur's Gate at one point, and what's another, like, fairly prominent, like, Wizards of the Coast D&D location?
Eberron.
That might have been the other one.
The Sword Coast.
Yeah, Sword Coast.
I don't know.
Ravenloft.
I don't know. Like, Ravenloft. I would know it if I heard it, but I don't know.
When you get around to watching it, Rich, you're probably going to actually pick out a lot more of those little, like, wink and nod things than I did, just because you know more about that stuff. And I think that movie, it's either going to click really well for you because you do just have, more about that lore and the world and everything, and you're more invested into that stuff than I am. So, like, even, like, the slower start, you might just be looking at it more as, like, oh, well, yeah, like, this kind of makes sense for, like, a D&D campaign, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Or, because it's so much like that, you might just be like, they did this wrong. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, like, because I follow a lot of, like, D&D creators on YouTube and whatnot, I've seen a lot of D&D creators and D&D adjacent creators having had seen them, and, like, this is an enjoyable movie to see. Like, it is, like, it's obviously not. It
absolutely
hit
is
D&D.
enjoyable.
It's not going to hit D&D spot on. You can't hit. It's really hard to hit D&D spot on. The only way to hit D&D spot on is to place a camera in the middle of a table and just have people play D&D. And that movie would probably sell millions. Like, have a side-by-side of them playing D&D with the actors acting next to it or something like that. Like, have, like, a legitimate game of D&D, record it, and then turn that into a movie. That's, like, the only way to get 100% D&D. But, like, this, like, honors D&D to Bess's abilities while also keeping it being a movie that, like, you don't need to be a D&D fan to.
Yeah, you know what, that is actually pretty accurate. And yeah, like, if you're big into it, like I said, there's lots of those little wink and nod moments. And if you're not, like, it's just kind of like a fun, goofy adventure. The last thing I watched was actually a TV series on Apple Plus, Shrinking. I don't know if either of you have heard or seen anything of this.
Nope.
That is, I know, Zach Braff, did an episode or two, directed an episode or two. I think that's, Bill Lawrence's show.
Yeah, so it's Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother, and Harrison Ford from, like, 6 Days, 7 Nights.
Yeah.
And
fucking Harrison Ford from 6 Days, 7. Really?
I was very quickly trying to think of the most unlikely Harrison Ford, like, what you'd know him from.
Should have just said Air Force One, man.
No, but that is prominent. Who's going to go? Yeah, Harrison Ford from 6 Days, 7 Nights, or Harrison Ford from Firewall.
An idiot.
So they are psychiatrists. Jason Segel in particular works at a practice that it's never flat out said, but I feel like Harrison Ford's character is the owner of the practice, and it's Jason Segel and a female psychiatrist are also practicing doctors at that practice. Sometime in the previous year, Jason Segel's wife died in a car accident, and he fucking spirals. And so the first episode, like, he's just, like, partying in the backyard with a bunch of, like, random women. And, like, from there, like, he kind of, like, gets his shit together, but his life is a mess. He has, like, a teenage daughter who hates him because her mom died, and then her dad basically just went on, like, a year-long bender. And the first couple episodes are a little more, like, they're not drama, but there's just definitely a little more, like, going on than just, like, strict comedy. But after that, like, it actually gets really funny. There's one scene where, like, throughout the whole season, Jason Segel's character he's basically struggling with coming to terms with, like, what happened still. And, like, now that he's not just burying it in alcohol and everything. There's one scene where he is supposed to be playing piano for a friend who is trying to get engaged, and it's like a surprise proposal. And he is too drunk at that point, and just, like, projectile vomits everywhere in his house. And it's one of those things where it's happening behind, like, the guy who's singing to the guy he's trying to propose to. So he doesn't even know what's happening at first. And then you just see Jason Segel, like, behind him, just, like, vomiting on his piano, vomiting off to the side. It's very stupid and funny. But it was a really good show. And I often forget that, like, Harrison Ford is actually he can deliver lines with really good comedic timing. It's just normally when you see him, he's playing, like, more serious characters. Like, he might occasionally have like a silly line, but he's not in a comedy. And this, while he's playing, like, that gruff, grumpy older guy, he's funny in it. Like, he says a lot of just very cutting, funny things. So yeah, I want to say it's 10 episodes. Yeah, it was 10 episodes. They apparently already got announced for a second season, which is cool. So that's always good. I am surprised by just the level of quality of a lot of these Apple Plus shows. Like, out of, like, all the shitty streaming services that have popped up, Apple is probably making the most quality shows.
Apple's got money for days, surprisingly, and can pay high, like friggin' Ben Stiller to make Severance, friggin' Harrison Ford to make this show. Like, they've somehow have so much fucking money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not somehow. They basically owned the music download and streaming for the past 20 fucking years. So, like, and 50 to 60% of the phone market the past 15 years. That, like, they have the money to do this big shit like this, and it's wild. Like, I have my parents' logins for Apple, and I want to watch them, but for me, it's like, the only way I can easily watch it is on my PS5, and that means I'd have to set up my PS5 to be able to watch it on my TV, which means I have to swap the plugs and this and that, and it's kind of a pain right now.
Do you only play your like, when you use your PS5, you play it on your TV or on your computer?
I mean, the only time in the last year that I've played my PS5 was on my PC. It was streaming. I haven't really played since then, and right now my PS5 is not plugged into my capture card because my Switch is, because I've been playing Ring Fit. And I had a system switch for a while that was plugged into my capture card, but that was causing issues. And it was disconnecting from the capture. So, like, I'd be in the middle of playing the game on stream, and it'll cut out and then reconnect again.
Oh, that's stupid.
So I can't have the, or at least that one I can't have plugged in. So it's right now the best way for me to do it is to swap out the plugs. And so, like, yeah, I could just easily plug in my PS5 into my TV, but that, again, my TV only has 2 USB ports, old shitty TV, or not HDMI port, and so one's for the Chromecast, the other one is for whatever's connected, the capture card.
Replace your Chromecast with a Roku.
I'd rather have Chromecast. If I had a smart TV, sure, but also if I had a smart TV, I wouldn't even need a Roku.
I mean, it depends on the smart TV. Like, we have a Roku because there's certain things that, like, aren't available on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's not available to me naturally is friggin' Apple TV.
Yeah.
Everything else I can get, but Apple refuses to put Apple TV on Android devices.
It might also be Google refusing to allow them.
I'm pretty sure it's Apple refusing it. I'm sure Google would allow it. I'm sure. Like, there's no in-app purchases or anything, so they wouldn't have to worry about buying anything on there. Like, I feel like 100% it's Apple refusing to do it.
Yeah. I was just throwing it out there. Personally, like, I've gotten to the point, I like the Roku more than I like the Chromecast. But for you, like, I can understand why the Chromecast is easier because, like, you're not sharing, like, control of the TV generally. So being able to just cast it from your phone isn't a big deal. It's a pain in the ass if, like, I'm casting something on Netflix and I'm going to bed and, like, Erica wants to keep watching Netflix. Like, we then have to, like, I have to disconnect, she then has to connect to it, and it's easier to just have, like, a remote control that can fucking do it. Oh!
You know,
I wonder if, so didn't you get the Chromecast that came with the remote with your thing? Your
Stadia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't that have the apps built into it?
No. It's just a Chromecast. I can't get access into the Chromecast. It's just I cast things into it.
Oh, see, I must have
I
must have another different one than you, because I have one that I don't use my phone on, and it has apps built into it the same way the Roku does. Like my phone's not connected to it.
Even if it did, I doubt Apple TV has access.
Oh, that's true. Chromecast is still fucking Google. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Well, set up your PS5, man. It's worth it. Those
honestly,
shows are delightful.
I need a new fucking TV. I need everything in my house I need new of. So, like, rather than paying for the Roku, I could just get a new TV and be happy with that, and then be able to play my PS5 with better everything on my TV, even when I'm streaming. I can just play off TV.
That's true, and honestly, you're probably not in the position to do it right now, but this weekend there's probably like sales on like the TCLs and stuff like that, like the TVs that are generally more reasonably priced that are still actually pretty good quality. And I know a lot of those, like, they have more HDMI. They also do have the Roku built into them, so you'd have kind of the best of both worlds. You'd have your Chromecast for that, but then you'd also have Roku for, like, if you want to watch stuff on the Roku channel, like the Great American Bake Off.
Yeah, I mean, right now I can't really do much of anything because I have to go get x-rays. And
you all right?
Probably take up my ankle's been busted since January.
Oh, it never got better?
And no, and my health insurance will not cover it until I reach my deductible.
Dude, I fucking hate insurance. That's bullshit.
What's the point of paying $80 every 2 weeks, or every $80 a paycheck, $90 a paycheck, if you won't cover a test or anything like that? Because the problem is, and my doctor even said it, if I go to a specialist, they're going to want me to get x-rays, but the x-rays are probably going to show nothing because it's most likely a muscle strain issue. So I need to get the x-rays to give to the specialist so that they can say, all right, well, it's not bone, so let's do a muscle, let's do an MRI, which means that's going to be another test I'm going to have to pay full however much for.
And those things aren't ever cheap.
And they're not cheap. And it's also why I never got a sleep study, because it was going to cost me $2,500 to get a fucking sleep study.
Holy shit, they're that expensive?
At this point, if I'd gotten the sleep study, I'd only have to pay 20% for the x-rays and for the for any MRIs and testing.
Dude, just move to Canada. Just defect from the U.S.
Fucking the United States is it's not the worst fucking country in the world, but it's fucking the shittiest fucking country in the world.
Yeah, for a country that has access to everything, we are run in just the worst fucking way.
'Cause fucking boomer.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. But enough of Richie's bitching. I think that's probably going to do it for tonight.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Yep.
So 2 weeks from now, we're going to watch, what movie was that?
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Thank you. Sorry, I already forgot the name of the movie, and I'm like staring at my document. I'm like, I don't see it on here anymore. I know I typed it though. So yeah, 2 weeks we'll watch Gone in 60 Seconds. But other than that, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @one_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Rich, what does your streaming schedule look like?
Twitch.tv/b_1 is for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. At the moment, right now, I am still making my way through Star Ocean: The Divine Force, and I'm having a decent time with that. Like, I'm enjoying that surprisingly a lot more than I thought I was going to. So we're doing that and jumping around between that and Remnant from the Ashes, because still got to do the DLC, and probably Monster Hunter. So, I mean, just find me on all my socials, see my schedule. I keep forgetting to post it.
It happens. But yeah, other than that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
See yous.